The kingdom of Ethelgard was vast and rich, its fields fertile and its mines deep, yet a quiet chill settled over its ruler, King Alistair. He dwelled not in joy but in a profound, echoing loneliness within the marble halls of his grand palace, his crown. A magnificent circlet of gold woven with diamonds brighter than captured stars felt unbearably heavy upon his brow. It was a symbol not of power he cherished, but of a distance that isolated him. He watched his people from high balconies, the bustling market vendors, the children playing in narrow lanes, the farmers returning weary but content from their fields. Their laughter, their shared struggles, their simple connections seemed a world away. Separated by the weight of gold and the unspoken rules of royalty, a deep yearning stirred within him, a longing for something his crown could never provide, a warmth the palace hearths could never replicate. One brittle winter morning, frost etching intricate patterns on the palace windows, King Alistair slipped away disguised in the simple woolen cloak of a merchant. He walked the cobbled streets of his capital, feeling the bite of the wind for the first time. Without layers of velvet between it and his skin, he saw not prosperity, but hardship etched onto faces. An old woman shivering as she sold thin gloves, children with eyes too large for their faces huddled near a struggling Bakery oven for warmth, a young man desperately trying to mend a leaking roof before the next snowfall. The sight of a small, ragged girl, her fingers blue with cold as she reached for a discarded crust of bread near the orphanage gates, pierced his heart like an icicle. He watched her share the meager find with an even smaller boy, their breath puffing white in the frigid air, a bond of survival and love that shamed his own gilded solitude. The cold metal of the hidden crown beneath his cloak seemed to burn against his chest, returning to the silent, opulent emptiness of his throne room. Felt like entering a gilded tomb. The usual advisors droned on about treasury reports and border patrols, their words buzzing meaninglessly around him. He stared not at the maps or the petitioners, but at the faint reflection of his own crowned head in the polished marble floor. The diamonds glittered with cold fire. What warmth does this bring? He thought, the image of the shivering children superimposing itself over the reflection. What comfort does this gold offer against the winter's bite? The crown's weight became an agony, a constant reminder of everything he couldn't do while bound by its tradition. That night, the luxurious canopy bed felt suffocating. The quiet luxury mocked him. A single, resolute thought solidified. His crown held no value locked away. Its true worth lay only in what it could become. Summoning his most trusted steward, Silas, whose own eyes held years of quiet observation, the king issued orders that left the old man speechless, his parchment trembling in his hand. Not commands for feasts or festivals, but instructions whispered with fierce urgency. Silas, recovering from his shock, moved with a speed belying his age. Within days, the palace treasury echoed with an unusual activity. Master jewelers, sworn to secrecy, worked through the night by lamplight. Their delicate tools didn't craft new ornaments, but carefully, reverently, dismantled the most potent symbol of the realm. Gold was separated, melted down. Dazzling diamonds, each worth a fortune, were prized from their settings. The king himself supervised, his face grave, but his eyes holding a light Silas hadn't seen in decades. The crown ceased to be in its place. Grew stacks of plain, unmarked gold coins and pouches holding glittering, saleable gems under the cloak of pre-dawn darkness. Wagons laden not with treasure, but with sacks of grain, thick woolen blankets, sturdy timber, barrels of oil, and heavy chests began a silent exodus from the palace gates. They traveled to every corner of Ethelgard, guided by Silas and a network of discreet priests and elders the king trusted implicitly. The coins and gems weren't hoarded. They were transformed. A crumbling orphanage received funds for sturdy walls, warm stoves, And overflowing pantries, farmers struggling with debt found anonymous payments, settling their accounts. Widows discovered baskets of firewood and food appearing mysteriously on their doorsteps. Shivering families in the poorest quarter awoke to thick blankets and sacks of coal. The kingdom began to hum with a different energy. Confusion at first, then dawning wonder, then a palpable warmth spreading like the first thaw of spring, chasing the bitter cold from hearth and heart alike. King Alistair, now simply Alistair, walked among his people openly. He wore no crown, only simple clothes. He helped rebuild a barn destroyed by wind, his hands growing calloused alongside the farmers. He sat in the refurbished orphanage common room, listening intently as children, their cheeks now rosy, told him stories or hesitantly showed him drawings. He shared simple meals of bread and stew in humble cottages, the laughter and shared conversation filling a void he hadn't fully known existed. The weight that had pressed upon his brow for so long was gone, replaced by a lightness, a profound sense of connection. He saw the fear replaced by hope in his people's eyes, not directed at him as a distant monarch, but shared with him as a fellow human being. The kingdom hadn't weakened. It had found a new, resilient strength woven from shared warmth and unexpected kindness. The grand throne stood empty. King Alistair ruled no more yet. Ethelgard flourished as never before. People spoke of the winter when warmth arrived not from the sun, but from an act of unimaginable generosity. They spoke of the king who traded cold gold for the warmth of community, who exchanged a jeweled burden for the priceless weight of shared humanity. He found his place not on a dais, but amidst the people. He finally called his own on quiet evenings, sitting by a crackling fire in a simple cottage, listening to the sounds of a contented village settling in for the night. Alistair felt a deep, resonant peace. He needed no crown. His legacy wasn't carved in stone or set in diamonds, but lived in the sturdy walls of the orphanage, the laughter of well-fed children, the secure homes of his people, and the enduring warmth that finally, truly, filled his own once lonely heart. The kingdom healed, and so did its king.